Hello everyone, welcome to today's show. My name is Spencer Walsh. Thank you so much for joining us here today. We got a good one for you. It is just that time. It's Friday, everyone. That's the time I'm referring to. Very exciting. Today, big news. Donald Trump has pulled out of the North Korean summit meeting with Kim Jong-un. Major stuff today. Ireland same-sex marriage vote was an easy win. How will ending its abortion ban compare? Will they be able to do that? Will they be able to repeal the 8th Amendment of this island constitution? Can they do it? We will find out. And the most progressive Democrat, Sharif Nadar, denied he was enamored with Marco Rubio. C-SPAN footage begged to differ. So we'll talk about him and some of the fraudulent things he's been up to, and we will get right into that. Thank you so much for joining us here today. My name is Spencer Walsh. Now, in Washington, President Trump on Thursday pulled up a highly anticipated summit meeting with Kim Jong-un, accusing the North Koreans of bad faith and lamenting that this is a missed opportunity and a truly sad moment in history. The president made his announcement in a remarkably personal, at times mournful-sounding letter to Kim. Reading it felt a little weird. I was like, yeah, I mean, that's something he'd say, but is it something he'd say? Did he write that? Did he not? Etc. So it's like, sometimes you just think he's like, oh, he would never say something like that. But like, maybe, and then the next sentence you read, I was like, oh yeah, that's something he'd write. But yeah, I mean, so maybe they had him write every other sentence in an aid. Wrote the next sentence. I don't know, because it seems to be like a discrepancy from like each sentence to the next. It's quite strange. So Trump still later said that the meeting, which had been scheduled for June 12th in Singapore, could still happen, but North Korea issued a strikingly conciliatory response, saying it hoped Trump would reconsider, which is a little bit strange because now this dramatic action by Trump has to kind of be followed up by another dramatic action by North Korea saying, all right, calm down. It's going to be okay. I hope you can reconsider. I'm so sorry for whatever pain we may have caused or something, whatever thing like that. But which is definitely a little bit weird, because that letter was very sad. It was very mournful. It wasn't very attacking. It wasn't very aggressive on the pushing front, which, I mean, it did accuse them of open hostility, but I mean, if Trump had his free reign over that thing, which I guarantee you he did not have his free reign or full control over what he was going to write. His aides definitely had some pretty strong input on that, judging on just like the quality and the overall content of the letter. I mean, I think it would have been a lot more different. I think it would use some much harsher words other than just like open hostility, because yeah, that's not really what the Donald Trump style is. So yeah, there is that to take into account there. So Mr. Trump also renewed talk of military action, Mr. Trump, against the North, and vowed to keep pressing economic sanctions, guaranteeing that for now, at least, his unlikely courtship of Kim will give way to a more familiar cycle of threats and tension. Because, I mean, this again, it proves he was really not in it for the long haul. It just shows you he is not in it for the long haul. I mean, this is not his specialty. His specialty is saber rattling and not really doing anything about it. And we all kind of knew this, and we only really knew the reason why peace had its chance was because of the trend started by South Korean President Moon Jae-in. Like, I think that it gets to be a point where it's pretty clear, like, that's what's happening. Like, we know what's going on here. We know the drill. It's getting to a point where it's kind of obvious, and there is a lot of concern as to what's going to happen in the region. What will be Moon Jae-in's next move? I think it's going to be very, very interesting to determine what he's going to want to do next. Also, because what's his course of action going to be? Is he going to turn more back to peace and more negotiations? Like, it's only because Moon Jae-in reached out back by the Olympics is the only real reason why this thing happened in the first place. So I think it's also very important to take in. Like, he was the one who was pushing peace here. It was not President Donald Trump by any stretch of the imagination. He didn't make any move. He didn't make any attempt, from what I could see, towards peace in any real meaningful way. And I think that's going to be very important to take into account when push comes to shove. And I mean, all those people, those Republican congressmen not trying to nominate him for a Nobel Peace Prize was a little bit laughable because, again, this hasn't happened yet. And literally, almost about as soon as that happened, this thing, like, deteriorated like that. Like, it was, like, literally on command. So I thought that was also very interesting as well. So the mixed messages were in keeping with the diplomatic gambit that had kind of an air of unreality from the start in early March, when Trump spontaneously accepted Kim's invitation to meet, an acceptance that North Korea did not even publicly acknowledge for several days. So it's definitely a little bit it's a little bit worrying. It's a little bit disturbing when you saw that happen, because it just seemed like everything was on slower time. I mean, granted, these were definitely not professionals who were coming out and doing this. These people not very experienced at negotiating, just a lot of saber rattling, it seemed, for a lot of it. But yeah, they did start to come together. They started to slowly move together to kind of acknowledge each other. But as the date for the meeting drew closer, American and North Korean officials staked out deeply divergent positions on how quickly the North should surrender its nuclear arsenal, which makes sense, because now the time for playing around was over. It's almost negotiating time, and you got to make your public positions clear when you go in, because a big part of negotiating is a PR battle. I mean, does it look like you won the day? Can you go out in the media and say that you've won the day? That's going to be very, very important to your success, your personal success in the situation. But if you go out in the media and say you won the day and you haven't, it could also kind of also blow back on you as well. So, especially in this like globalized world where everyone's talking that we live in. So yeah, as the day of the meeting drew closer, they kind of again staked out different positions on how quickly the North should surrender its nuclear arsenal. Probably the biggest part, White House won right away. North Korea won a little bit over time. North Korean officials failed to show up for a planning meeting last week in Singapore, summoning a White House advance team led by the Deputy Chief of Staff, Joe Hagan. The White House team, ill-prepared for a long negotiation, began to have second thoughts. By Thursday, after a North Korean official labeled Mike Pence a political dummy and threatened a nuclear-to-nuclear showdown, there seemed little rationale for the encounter beyond Trump's desire to make history. So yeah, that seemed to be the pretty much only situation. So I mean, it feels like you're going into a place where there's nothing going on. There seems to be nothing really pushing, nothing really going forward. Maybe the North Koreans weren't ready for it. That's also very possible. And that's also another big possibility. Like the fact that he wanted to come in and make history. And I mean, I feel like that would have been a reason enough for him normally to push on, which I'm glad he didn't, because this obviously seems to now would have been quite a bad idea. I believe this is a tremendous setback for North Korea and indeed the world, a resigned-sounding president said at a bill signing ceremony. But he added, if and when Kim Jong-un chooses to engage in a constructive dialogue and actions, I am waiting. They want to do what's right. He said, I think, this is Trump, I really think that they want to do it, and it was only recently that this has been taking place. North Korea appeared to reciprocate, declaring that it was willing to give Mr. Trump the time and opportunity to reconsider his decision. Hey, so there still is some days before June 12th. I mean, but apparently there's been a lot of barbs flowing back and forth, labeling Mike Pence a political dummy, just going after the president. That seemed to be a little bit nervous. So, yeah, by Thursday, things just seem to be relatively pointless. So, North Korea appeared to reciprocate, and the Vice Foreign Minister of North Korea, Kim Ki-gwan, said, the unilateral cancellation of the summit was unexpected and very regrettable, but the North remains willing to sit down with the United States anytime in any format to resolve the problems. Like, what would they have done? Like, what would they have asked for? I think it's going to be very interesting to find out in the future. There's some of the questions that we have that we'll never be able to find out. What will the negotiation would have been like? I mean, that would have been some pretty cool stuff, and to see how it really would have turned out. But yeah, the White House overall just kind of seemed unprepared going into this, and it really kind of showed to the North Koreans, and they kind of backed into this very quickly, and they kind of, from the start, it seemed just a little bit weird, seemed a little bit like off the seat, by the seat of the pants, or actually a lot by the seat of the pants, I will be honest, and that could be what led to its downfall here today. So the statement later Thursday in Washington, Kang Kyung-hwa, the South Korean foreign minister, and Secretary of State Mike Pompeo spoke via telephone and agreed to continue working to creating the right conditions for the United States and North Korea to talk, South Korea's foreign ministry said in a statement. A statement that Pompeo had stressed a willingness to continue the dialogue with North Korea. They want to keep it open, which makes sense. They still want to just keep that possibility to make history. They just want to keep it there just a little bit. So hours before Trump's announcement, North Korea had blown up an underground nuclear testing site before foreign journalists gathered to witness the demolition. It was the latest in a series of gestures by the North went to smooth the way for the summit meeting, and boom, it's canceled. So, yeah. In a letter sent to Kim, which a senior White House official said the president dictated, Mr. Trump mixed regret with a blunt warning to North Korea that it will lose any nuclear confrontation with the United States. As he so often has with Kim, Mr. Trump veered between conciliation and belligerence, often in dizzying succession. That seemed to be really what the theme was. It was bam, 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 we'll get you, bam. But we can still talk. But, I mean, if nuclear versus nuclear, your country's going to be destroyed, boy. Like, get on my level. Like, that seemed to be what he was talking about there. Like, there seemed to be kind of like no mercy, kind of no holds barred style. That was quite apparent and a little bit disturbing. So, yeah, here's what he said. You talk about your nuclear capabilities, but ours are so massive and so powerful, I pray to God that they will never have to be used. But then he added, I felt a wonderful dialogue was building between you and me, and ultimately it is only that dialogue that matters. Someday I look very much forward to meeting you. So it's actually pretty almost like a love letter in a weird way. Because it's like, I love you. I miss you. But at the same time, I hate you. I would kill you. I would destroy you. But we should talk sometime. I think it'd be really cool if we could just talk sometime. Yeah, but like that just seems to be the very, very weird dynamic that is going on between these two world leaders. All right, we're gonna take a quick break. We have repealing the 8th abortion amendment in Ireland. That little battle that's going on. We'll take you inside that. It's pretty interesting. We'll take you inside that coming up next. This is the Spencer Walsh Radio Network. Your show will return in just 4 minutes.
Pendo on the beat.